Chapter 16, The Four-Eyed Nerd, Qian Bei. Bei Qian went through his morning routine like how he usually had every day 12 years ago in his previous life. He got up, showered, changed, went downstairs for breakfast with his parents, helped with preparations in the shop, and left home for school. He left his house on the same bicycle, traveling the same road he used yesterday to get to Xingxiang School. Today was also like yesterday. He was greeted with warm smiles by many people in the business district. Bei Qian also smiled back. The weather today was quite nicer than yesterday, so the boy pedaled his bicycle slowly to enjoy today's pleasant atmosphere. When he cycled past the spot where the mysterious man was yesterday, he was nowhere to be seen. Bei Qian rode past without giving it much thought, though. He thought that once his mission ended, he had no reason to care about the mysterious guy anymore. As he was about to reach the school on his bicycle, Bei Qian heard a sound in his head. A mission window popped up all of a sudden. Ding! Mission complete. Mission 5, take a night's rest, 5 points. Reward, you have received 5 points. Bei Qian pulled over on the side of road, looking at the system window that had popped up with a hint of disappointment that he did not get the roulette offer of the roulette wheel this time. He knew though that getting such an opportunity was not always the case. Nevertheless, he was quite happy because he had been waiting for this mission to be over since he had gotten up this morning. Only 25 points left. Bei Qian thought to himself that he would definitely complete missions today to earn 25 points so he could level up. He then called up the mission window to see the details of the new mission. Mission dashboard. Mission 6, solve a problem you encounter in the morning, 10 points. Mission 7, apologize to a resentful woman, 15 points. Further instruction, the order of mission completion is irrelevant. After you are done with the tasks assigned to you, you will be given a chance to receive special skills or items at random. The skills or items will give you a better life. Bei Qian stared at the mission dashboard with an odd feeling. He found the new mission quite bizarre. Apologize to a resentful woman? What in the world was this mission? With burning curiosity, he didn't waste time in pressing to see the details of Mission 7. Mission 7, apologize to a resentful woman. Instruction, a cute girl has harbored ill feelings and anger towards you in the past. If you don't hurry up and apologize to her now, your relationship will come to an end. Reward for success, win 15 points. Penalty for failure, your relationship with her will be severed. After checking out the mission details, an image of an adorable girl popped into his head. Bei Qian could not help but smile. The girl in his mind right now was Li Lin. Even if I didn't get this mission, I would have apologized to her anyway, Bei Qian said to himself while shaking his head. But he thought that this would work too since it was like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Wait, if this mission rewards 15 points, then when combined with mission 6, I would get exactly 25 points. When he realized this fact, Bei Qian had to smile happily. It was now certain that he would reach level 2 today. Let's hurry up and go to school to complete more missions then, said Bei Qian. He continued to ride his bicycle to school, which was already quite nearby. A few moments later, Bei Qian arrived at the school. He hurried off to park his bicycle in the parking lot first. After he had parked, Bei Qian prepared to walk up to class. It was at that moment that the mission window appeared in front of him, with a green arrow pointing in one direction. Mission 6, solve a problem you encounter in the morning. Instructions, you'll run into a problem tomorrow morning. Please resolve it. Reward for success, win 10 points. Penalty for failure, none. I was waiting for this. Bei Chen was already itching to complete a mission. When one appeared, how could he not be eager? He hurriedly followed where the arrow pointed. After turning the corner of a building, he was stunned by what he saw. 5 schoolboys had surrounded a boy with glasses, who looked frightened. One of the boys in the gang was someone he knew very well. Ba Guan. Bei Chen did not intervene to stop this problem right away. He hid himself around the corner of the building to observe what was happening. What do you guys want? The boy with glasses said timidly. His face was slightly pale when he looked around at the 5 guys surrounding him. Ba Guan, who appeared to be the leader of the pack this time, smiled a little. The 4-eyed nerd, Qian Bei, I heard you are extremely wealthy. Won't you share some of your cash with us? That's right. I heard you are quite wealthy. Sharing with us a little bit won't hurt, will it? As Ba Guan finished speaking, a boy with an ugly face spoke. This guy was called Yang Gua. He was one of Ba Guan's most loyal sidekicks. As Boss Ba Guan and Yang Gua said, hurry up and give us cash. Yeah, if you don't, you know what will happen to you, right? The other 3 made their threats as well. Their eyes were black with greed when they looked at the meek chubby sheep called Qian Bei. How dare you guys threaten to extort me? I'll never give you anything. Qian Bei's face lost even more color. He felt that today was indeed an unfortunate day for him. Never had he thought that these classroom thugs would try to extort him like this. Even though he did have cash, he would never, ever want to give it to them. Chapter 17 Extortion. You're not gonna give us your money? Ba Guan's face darkened when he heard Qian Bei's words. In his view, Qian Bei choosing to surrender the cash to him and his sidekicks was the right thing to do. How dare you refuse to give us your money? You want us to beat you to a pulp, huh? Yang Gua spoke while cracking his knuckles with a dissatisfied expression. He did not expect Qian Bei to still refuse to give up his cash, despite being caught in the middle of this gang of 5. Others would have handed it over on a silver platter by now. The other 3 thugs' facial expressions were as unhappy as Yang Gua's. They walked a little closer to Qian Bei. One of them said threateningly, "Are you giving us the money or not?" Qian Bei's face went even paler. He was completely terrified of these people in front of him, but he still did not want to give up the money. If he surrendered, he would not have enough cash to buy the action figure of Nami Chan from One Piece. I'm not gonna give you the money," Qian Bei screamed. He started to find a way to escape by finding a gap in the circle. When he found one, Qian Bei bolted. However, he could not get through. Ba Guan's lips twisted into a cold smile as he stuck his leg out to block Qian Bei's escape. In the end, Qian Bei staggered and fell to the floor after hitting Ba Guan's leg. His glasses were covered in dirt. Ouch. That hurts. Qian Bei screamed with pain. He hit the ground hard, both hands scratched and wounded until they reeked of blood. This bastard. You're not gonna give us the cash and run. How simple-minded. Yang Gua jeered and walked over to kick Qian Bei's stomach. The unfortunate boy shrieked and curled up into a ball. Aren't you worried that I'm gonna report you to the teachers? Why are you doing this? Qian Bei tried not to cry out, he tried to speak instead. He looked up at Ba Guan and his gang with fear. Teacher? Which one? You think the teachers would believe you. There's only one of you, but there are 5 of us. Where are you going to get your evidence from? Ba Guan smiled faintly. He thought this 4-eyed nerd Qian Bei was really dumb. So, you'd better give us the money. That way, we'll let you go. You lot. When he heard what Ba Guan said, Qian Bei was at loss for words. The nerdy boy thought that what Ba Guan said was right. Even if he went and told on these thugs, the teachers would never believe it. The worst case scenario would be the teachers accusing him of being a liar. In the end, Qian Bei sighed. He was left without a choice. He really had to give these people his money. Otherwise, they would beat him to a pulp, which he clearly did not want. How much do you guys want? Ba Guan, Yonghua, and the others smiled. They were certain that their extortion would also be successful this time, because Qian Bei was not the first person they had done this to. There were many predecessors, and all gave Ba Guan's gang what they wanted. Give me 10,000 yuan then. Your family's rich, after all. It'll barely be a drop in the bucket for you. Ba Guan's lips curled up into his greedy smile. Qian Bei's eyes widened in panic. He shrieked loudly, 10,000? Are you out of your mind? How would I have that much money? I only have 500 yuan on me. What? You're thinking of giving us that 500 yuan petty cash? Boss Guan, let's beat this bastard up, shall we? Yonggua's heart pounded fast in his chest when he heard that Qian Bei had 500 yuan with him. This was because every time they extorted someone, they only got 50 to 60 yuan. The best they did was 80. He only said what he had to scare the living daylights out of Qian Bei. And Ba Guan's demand of 10,000 yuan was, of course, a lie. It was his regular demand when extorting people, as it was really useful for getting other students to accurately reveal the amount of money they had. 500 yuan? Not bad at all. Ba Guan could not help but feel pleased with his ill-gotten gains today. This was his best return since he established a gang with his sidekicks to extort other students. Qian Bei sighed when he heard Ba Guan's words of satisfaction regarding his 500 yuan. If these hooligans really wanted 10,000 yuan, it might be better if he just let them beat him up. There was no way he could have that much money. Even though his family was really well off, his daily spending limit was still 500 yuan. Ba Guan's other sidekicks did not say anything. They only smiled. It looked like today they were going to have many nice things from their ill-gotten gains. Qian Bei slowly stood up and stuck his hand into the pocket of his trousers. He was about to give his money to Ba Guan when someone's voice rang out. Robbing other students? Bro Guan, my friend, you must have a lot of free time. Everyone turned around to see who that voice belonged to. Ba Guan's pupils contracted when he saw who it was. Bro Chen? The owner of that voice was, indeed, Bei Chen. Now he knew what problems they were having. It could not even be called their problems, because the troublemakers were Ba Guan's crew, who were trying to rob Qian Bei blind. At first, he was fine with just observing. When things went downhill to the point of physical abuse and Qian Bei having to give up his money, he was no longer able to stand still. If that was the case, his mission would definitely fail. It's me. I'm gonna give you 10 seconds. If you don't hurry up and get out of my sight, you'll definitely get your beating. Bei Chen walked over and stopped in front of Ba Guan. He spoke with confidence, which was rooted in his recent attainment of the low-grade martial arts technique. Without this martial arts technique, there would be no way Bei Chen could feel this self-assured. He would not be able to handle the 5 of them otherwise. Chapter 18, Severed. Bro Chen, what did you just say? Ba Guan thought he was mistaken. He stared at Bei Chen, while Yang Gua and the others frowned unhappily. Never thought you would be deaf, Bro Guan. I told you and your crew to bugger off. Bei Chen was ready to take his revenge. He knew very well that Ba Guan would not leave like he told him to. Ha ha ha. Ba Guan laughed when he heard Bei Chen's words. Never had he imagined that this day would come, the day when Bei Chen dared to talk to him like this, which was, in fact, not a bad thing for him at all. Actually, he thought that he was done using Bei Chen. It was now time to teach him a lesson. And what time would be more fitting than now when Bei Chen was the one who started it? This was the best excuse for him to easily beat him up. You've got guts. Boss Guan, should we just beat him up? Yang Gua was very upset at Bei Chen's words. His face was hostile when he saw Bei Chen's nonchalant expression. Of course, it was not only Yang Gua who was upset. Ba Guan's 3 sidekicks were also dissatisfied. Their faces signaled that they were ready to smash him to a pulp. As for Qian Bei, he was dumbfounded. He had never thought that anyone would step in to help. And this guy was actually a person he knew well. It was the forever top of class, Bei Chen. He had never spoken a word to Bei Chen before, so he did not know why Bei Chen would save him. Nevertheless, Qian Bei felt grateful to Bei Chen from the bottom of his heart for what he had done. He was about to tell the guy not to jump in. From the look of things, there was no way Bei Chen could take down Ba Guan's gang of 5. However, Qian Bei did not get a chance to speak his mind because Ba Guan had already rushed towards Bei Chen. His face was no longer smiling. There was only rage painted on it. You really want to get pulverized? Piece of trash. It was obvious that Ba Guan did not want Yang Gua and his other sidekicks to beat Bei Chen up, because he wanted to do it himself. Today was the day their friendships came to an end. Bei Chen watched as Ba Guan's body approached. He did not feel any fear, he only found Ba Guan's speed too extremely slow, like slow motion. It looked like this was the ability from the low-grade martial arts technique he'd obtained. Take this fist of Father's Fury, Ba Guan shouted before swinging his fist at Bei Chen's face. He gave it all he had without holding back. Yang Gua and the other 3 smiled in satisfaction at Ba Guan's action. They all thought that Bei Chen would be nothing more than a mere rag after being assaulted by Ba Guan. Stop it! Qian Bei screamed in panic. His thought was the same as that of Yang Gua's crew. He thought Bei Chen would definitely be gravely injured after taking Ba Guan's punch to the face. However, an unexpected thing happened. Bei Chen slowly reached out to take Ba Guan's fist. Thud. The sound of the fist and the palm crashing against each other rang out. Ba Guan's expression changed. He felt as if he had just punched metal. His fist shook violently. He felt great pain. His fist loosened up and drooped down. It was clear that he had broken his wrist, just like that, only by punching Bei Chen's palm. Akakik. Ba Guan shrieked and fell to his knees on the ground. His face was pale and colorless from great pain. Boss Guan. Yang Gua and the other 3 screamed in panic. They could not quite believe what they had witnessed. How could a person as strong as Ba Guan be finished off by Bei Chen? Avenge our boss! Yonghua shouted. He chose to ignore Bhagwan's condition and assumed the role of leader, fearing that Bei Chen would run away. The other sidekicks also understood his intention. They all followed Yonghua's lead and rushed out to circle Bei Chen, their faces solemn. Anyone who could deal with Bhagwan should be quite skilled in combat. But they all thought one person would lose against their number, so they were not too concerned. The four of them thought they could beat Bei Chen up easily to avenge their boss. Bei Chen also acted like he did not care about being surrounded. He looked at Bhagwan, who was holding his wrist with a pale face and a twisted, painful expression. The boy spoke in a cold voice. "Get this in your head, Bhagwan. Don't show your face to me ever again. Otherwise, it won't be just your wrist that is broken. I'll make sure to break your leg and arm too." After speaking his mind, Bei Chen did not wait for Bhagwan's reply. He kicked Bhagwan's face, sending the boy flying to land on top of one of his sidekicks, pushing them both to the side. Bhagwan's and his sidekicks' bodies flew over and hit the wall. Both of them were knocked out cold. "How dare you? Let's get this bastard." Yonghua was slightly caught off guard. But he quickly pulled himself together and shouted out in haste. The other two nodded and rushed over to beat up Bei Chen. Unfortunately, their punches were too slow. Bei Chen's fist landed on each of their faces, sending them flying towards the wall and passing out just like Bhagwan. Damn it! Yonghua saw the situation unfold before his eyes and thought helplessly about escaping. He spun around, preparing to bolt, not caring about taking revenge for Bhagwan anymore. Looking at how Bei Chen had dealt with 3 of his crew, it was not hard at all to finish him, too. If that was the case, why bother staying and getting hurt? But before he got the chance to run, Yonghua's vision went cloudy with twinkling stars. Bei Chen's punch had landed directly on his face. Chapter 19, Apologize. Yonghua's body slowly fell to the ground. He landed on his back and blacked out. Bei Chen looked down with a faint smile, never having thought that receiving the low-grade martial arts technique would improve his combat abilities like this. He could not help but think of other skills he would acquire in the future. Perhaps they would be even more surprising. Ding. Mission complete. Mission 6, solve a problem you encounter in the morning. Success. Reward, you have received 10 points. The mission window popped up in front of him. Bei Chen stared at it with slight regret that he had not gotten the roulette bonus. However, he was still happy with the additional 10 points. He had 85 points now. Only 15 more and he would level up. Bei Chen closed the mission accomplishment window before opening the dashboard to check out new missions. Mission dashboard. Mission 7, apologize to the resentful woman, 15 points. Mission 8, catch the snatch thief in the Sing Sing Business District, 15 points. Further instruction, the order of mission completion is irrelevant. After you are done with the tasks assigned to you, you will be given a chance to receive special skills or items at random. The skills or items will give you a better life. After seeing the new mission, Mission 8, Bei Chen's eyebrows knitted a little. He had no idea there was a snatch thief in Sing Sing Business District, where he lived. He could not help but click to see the mission details. Mission 8, catch the snatch thief in the Sing Sing Business District. Instruction, recently, a snatch thief has been appearing in the Sing Sing Business District, causing many people to suffer the loss of their belongings. Reward for success, win 15 points. Penalty for failure, customer traffic decreases. Bei Chen ground his teeth loudly. The fact that there was a thief in the Sing Sing district alone was enough to anger him a little. This was because his house was a small Chinese steamed bun shop in the business district itself. His parents had to get up at 3 in the morning to make Chinese steamed buns and the dim sum so that they could give him a good life and a good education. How could he not be mad? Having a thief lingering around the district meant there would be fewer customers. You nasty thief. Just you wait till my school day ends. I'll take care of you. Bei Chen said this before closing the system window. He then spun around and walked away without sparing a glance at Qian Bei, who was sitting on the ground with wide eyes and his mouth agape. Ah! Qian Bei acted as if he had just snapped back to reality. His facial expression had stayed like that for a long time, from when Ba Guan was crying in pain until now. Qian Bei quickly got up, shouted, and ran after Bei Chen. Wait for me, Boss Bei. Bei Chen halted and turned around to look at Qian Bei. The boy frowned a little. What did you just call me? I called you Boss Bei. I am very impressed and in awe of your prowess after seeing you take down Ba Guan's gang of 5. From now on, I'm gonna call you Boss Bei. Thank you very much for helping me. Otherwise, I would have had to give that crew my money, Qian Bei said with great enthusiasm. Whatever floats your boat then. Bei Chen decided not to make any comments. He only helped Qian Bei because it was the mission he had been given. He could not care less what Qian Bei called him. Bei Chen turned around and continued walking. As he saw Bei Chen walking away, Qian Bei went back to stomp on the 5 poor unconscious members of Ba Guan's gang, marking their faces and clothes with his footprints. You lowly thugs. Remember the footprint of this high and mighty Qian Bei. After satisfactorily leaving footprints on them, Qian Bei spoke happily and quickly ran after Bei Chen. Bei Chen did not go up to class immediately but went to a shop inside the school. He bought a huge 10-yuan pack of crisps and made his way towards the classroom. He was not alone though. The 4-eyed nerd Qian Bei was always with him, babbling nonsense like, "Do you watch anime? Do you like Nami-chan from One Piece?" or things of that sort. Bei Chen only absent-mindedly went along with what Qian Bei was saying without paying much attention to him because he had to be careful with whom he made friends with from now on. Otherwise, there would be the second and third versions of Ba Guan. After a while, he and Qian Bei arrived at their classroom. Many people were already there when they entered the room. Li Lin was also present. Qian Bei told him that he would treat him to lunch, then walked over to his desk. Bei Chen nodded in acknowledgement before walking over to Li Lin. She looked at him with an extremely stern and stone-cold face. It looked like she really despised his existence. Li Lin, can I have a word with you? Bei Chen stopped in front of Li Lin and asked in a formal, polite tone of voice. Li Lin glanced at him indifferently. I don't want to talk to you. Can you just stop trying to talk to me? Many students in the class were observing this incident with interest. All the boys and girls liked juicy gossip. From their point of view, Bei Chen was definitely trying to court Li Lin. That was because she was really pretty. Many boys in the class had tried to court her, but no one had succeeded. Every single one had been rejected in the most humiliatingly face-shattering manner. Bei Chen sighed. He had never thought that what had happened during childhood would affect him now. What do you want me to do to make you stop being angry with me? I'm sorry for what happened in kindergarten. I was really naughty back then. Li Lin was taken aback for a moment. She had not thought that Bei Chen would ask to talk to her so he could apologize. She had a confused expression on her face, clearly feeling helpless in this situation. Chapter 20, You mean a date? Li Lin did not say a word, so Bei Chen thought she had not forgiven him. But he had to make that happen, partly because of the guilt and partly because of the mission. What do you say? What do I have to do to make you forgive me? He said while putting a bag of snacks in front of her. Would this count as a redemption for stealing your snacks back then? When Li Lin heard what Bei Chen said, her pretty round eyes blinked rapidly in confusion. She still honestly did not know how to act in this situation. Li Lin found herself in a helpless position. Suddenly, a jeering voice sounded. Can't you see that Li Lin is not happy with this, yet you still dare to court her? By the way, what's with your tactic anyway? You bought her a cheap bag of crisps. A boy in a nice-looking expensive outfit walked into the room with a huge bouquet of red roses in hand. His face was slightly good-looking, but not too much. He would be classified as having moderately good looks. Bei Chen turned to look at the guy who had spoken and was walking into the room. He instantly remembered that the other party was Ao Song. He was the son of a well-to-do family, though not extremely wealthy. He, however, very much liked to show off and often insulted his classmates. Ao Song had been trying to court Li Lin for a very long time. He planned to marry up. Li Lin's background, in terms of both her looks and financial status, made her the one and only priceless flower of Xingxiang School. Whoever got to be her boyfriend would be a lucky man indeed. This made Ao Song want to catch her. And by catch, he meant becoming richer through marriage. He wanted to be one of the wealthy. And being able to live an opulent life without having to flex a muscle for the rest of his life. Li Lin hated Ao Song's guts. She hated this boy even more than Bei Chen because he kept following her around like an annoying fly that would never go away. Sorry, I was not trying to court her, Bei Chen told Ao Song calmly before turning back to look at Li Lin and saying, if you won't forgive me, then that's fine. As soon as he was done speaking, he immediately left the room. He left Li Lin staring with a confused expression. Ao Song was just as confused. He actually thought that Bei Chen would say something back. But the boy did not do anything. He just left. Other students in the room had a different view on this, though. From their perspective, there was only one explanation. Bei Chen had been rejected by Li Lin, and he could not bear the embarrassment, so he left the room. Boss, wait up. Xian Bei, who had been observing what had gone down, felt really sorry for his boss Bei. He shouted after him and rushed out of the classroom to console Bei Chen. What a coward. Finally, Ao Song snapped out of his confusion. He forced himself to speak and put on a smile while walking towards Li Lin. Li Lin, look. Today, I bought you another huge rose bouquet. Have you decided to be my girlfriend yet? Li Lin snapped out of her confusion as well. She ignored Ao Song and rushed out of the room after Bei Chen. After thinking this matter through, she now knew that it was just some kindergarten stuff. What would she hate him for? He had just apologized to her sincerely. If she still refused to forgive him, that would make her a narrow-minded person, wouldn't it? When Ao Song saw Li Lin walk past without paying him any attention, the boy felt a rush of anger in his heart. He could only grind his teeth loudly, sulkily, and sullenly, though there was no way to release that anger. Bei Chen walked quite fast. He had already reached the stairway to the lower floors, but he had not yet walked down them, because he could hear Qian Bei's voice calling him from behind. Qian Bei's voice made him turn around to take a look. The nerdy guy was rushing toward him with great speed, before coming to a halt in front of him. "Boss Bei, don't be sad. There is plenty of fish in the sea." The first thing Qian Bei said was words of consolation. Bei Chen did not know whether to laugh or cry. He wanted to tell the guy that he was not trying to court Li Lin, he only wanted to apologize to her about something that happened when they were kids. But thinking it through, there was no need for Bei Chen to explain himself to Qian Bei, so, in the end, he chose to stay quiet. The reason that he walked out of the room was none other than trying to get Li Lin to chase after him. From a 30-year-old man's perspective, Li Lin was but a young girl. She surely would not want to feel guilty for not forgiving him. He truly believed this. And it was exactly like that. Li Lin really followed him out. Bei Chen told Qian Bei, who was trying to console him, softly, "You go back first." Qian Bei was silent. He was momentarily stunned, before following Bei Chen's line of sight past him. The boy could not stop from turning around to see Li Lin making her way towards them. He was speechless then. It seemed that his thoughts were too simple. Qian Bei could not help but give Bei Chen a thumb up before walking past Li Lin to return to the classroom. Li Lin stood still in front of Bei Chen. She reached her delicate, snow-white hand out. "Where is it?" Bei Chen smiled and willingly gave her the bag of crisps he was holding. "So, does that mean you forgive me now?" "Yes. But this isn't over yet. Tomorrow you will have to go shopping with me. I want you to be my servant for the day, then I'll truly forgive you," Li Lin said. Bei Chen did not expect Li Lin to say this. He thought about it a little before feeling excited. "You mean a date?" "A date? What are you talking about?" Li Lin's pretty round eyes widened when she heard what he said. She quickly hit him with the bag of crisps. "It's not." Bei Chen couldn't help but rub his face. He was not at all hurt. The reason he got excited over dating was that he had never hung out with any girls before in his life.